Some days test you, some teach you. This is Days Like These, where faith meets the fallout and truth holds its own. I'm J. Malik Asher. Let's talk. Let me start here. Excuses don't usually sound reckless. They don't sound lazy. They don't even sound dishonest. They sound reasonable, thoughtful, measured, sometimes even responsible. And that's why they work. Most people don't wake up trying to avoid their life. They wake up trying to manage fear, uncertainty, and the risk of getting it wrong. So when someone says, I meant to, I tried, I just had a lot going on, they're not trying to deceive. They're explaining to protect themselves. And that distinction matters. There's a difference between a reason and an excuse. A reason acknowledges reality. An excuse negotiates with discomfort. A reason says, this is generally outside my control. An excuse says, I could have handled this, but the cost felt too high. Not wrong, just human. Excuses don't show up messy. They show up polished. Careful language, good timing, a tone mature enough that you almost nod along. That's why I think of them as business casual honesty. Not a lie, just not the full truth either. I've done this too. I've delayed hard conversations, not because I didn't know what to say, but because I knew exactly what saying it would cost. I wasn't confused. I was lazy. I was weighing the emotional price and hesitating. That pause, that's where excuses are born. Here's the reframe that changed it for me. An excuse isn't a lack of choice. It's evidence that a choice feels expensive because the real choice is often cost, comfort, approval, certainty. Sometimes even the version of ourselves that feels familiar and safe. So when the mind softens the truth, it's not trying to manipulate, it's trying to cope. That's why excuses sound so reasonable. They're dressed professionally, they're emotionally presentable. Excuses now available in business casual. So we can function, perform, and move forward without confronting everything all at once. It isn't cowardice, it's self-preservation. But here's the part we don't always talk about. Excuses don't just delay success. Sometimes they delay the next chapter, the one we prayed for, planned for, quietly hoped would survive. Because excuses keep fear intact. They keep doubt familiar. They keep uncertainty in charge. And slowly, without drama, they teach us to stay where we are. So when people say they had no choice, what they often mean is the alternative felt overwhelming, not impossible, just heavy. And that matters. I realized something I haven't been able to shake. Excuses are psychological NDAs we sign with ourselves so we don't have to confront everything we're capable of all at once. Not because we don't want more, but because we're afraid of what more might demand from us. This isn't about judging yourself. It's about noticing when protection turns into pattern, when understanding becomes delay, and when compassion for fear quietly turns into permission to stay still. So no, excuses aren't evil. They're understandable, but awareness changes things. Because once you see what the excuse is protecting, you get to decide whether that protection is still necessary. That is all. Thank you for spending your time and your truth here. Remember, even on days like these, purpose still speaks.